In the previous chapter, we delved into the fascinating world of Frank Lloyd Wright, exploring his groundbreaking prairie houses and the innovative architectural principles that define this era of his career. Now, as we embark on Chapter 3, we shift our focus to a new phase in Wright's life and work. This chapter marks a transition from the intimate and residential settings of the prairie houses to the grand and transformative realm of public architecture. Join us as we explore the remarkable journey of Frank Lloyd Wright as he leaves an indelible mark on the world through his iconic public works. The Larkin Building has disappeared, demolished after World War II for economic reasons, a pity, but this one, the Unity Temple, that later we will see it remains today. Larkin Building, in many ways, was a work that brings tears to our eyes when we think about its demolition in the 1940s, even as Frank Lloyd Wright was already a famous and recognized figure. How is it possible that the Larkin Building was the headquarters of a mail-order company where they sold the products they manufactured, especially hygiene, grooming, and cleaning products? This company, Larkin, had to establish a significant administrative headquarters in Buffalo, New York, near the Great Lakes. It was adjacent to acres of factories where their products were produced. This administrative center was where the employees responsible for handling the mail worked because everything was sold through mail orders. The surrounding area was unattractive, with factories and railroad tracks. Wright designed it as an introverted, self-contained structure, influenced by the European architectural trends he observed in the magazines of the time. It's true that it still bears echoes of the Secession Building in Vienna, like the Albridge Building, which was essentially the manifesto of the Viennese secession movement. However, Wright aimed for something more. His drawings aimed to convey how, at its core, what was originally an office building commission would be transformed into something more. He liked to describe it as a cathedral of labor, a concept that emphasized both its spiritual and functional significance. This cathedral of labor was not only a closed and introspective space, but also incorporated the latest technological innovations, including the air conditioning emerging through the towers. This is the basement plan with the air conditioning ducts, showcasing a building that was at the forefront of technological advancements. Yet, he aimed to represent it not just as a technological marvel, but as a sort of monumental air, a testament to his vision. As if it were, let's say, a courthouse or an institutional building. With its remarkable interior, it conveyed a sense of grandeur and significance. Especially with this extraordinary interior, right? The employees working under the watchful eye of the supervisor, diligently processing mail orders for the company. One of the grand interiors, enclosed and only lit from above, as you can see here, a combination of an enclosed space shielding itself from this uninviting environment. It was equipped with all the mechanical and contemporary facilities of that time. This interior has disappeared. And I must say it's truly heartbreaking because the two great interiors of that time have survived. Berlage, a prominent Dutch architect, mentioned it when he visited the United States. Berlage was not only a significant architect but also played a vital role in introducing American ideas to Europe. His book on America, from which I've reproduced a couple of pages here, showcased the best things he had encountered in America. One of the most impressive aspects for him was, undoubtedly, the interior of the Larkin Building. Berlage had designed the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, another remarkable interior that, fortunately, has endured to this day. When you visit the Netherlands, you can explore it. Simultaneous with the Larkin Building, this other grand interior emerged almost in parallel. By Otto Wagner, right? The Postal Savings Bank. These are truly magnificent interiors that have survived in Europe, while sadly, they disappeared in America. A cathedral of work that was further emphasized with inscriptions around it: intelligence, enthusiasm, control, cooperation, economy, diligence. Throughout the building, Wright designed everything, including the desks with articulated chairs, in an early and admirable manifestation of Taylorism, the scientific organization of labor. Unfortunately, it's one of the great masterpieces from that era that we have lost. Nevertheless, the Unity Temple has indeed survived, the temple he designed for the religious faith of his parents. Frank Lloyd Wright didn't really adhere to any particular religion. His only true belief was in himself, you could say. He believed in nature and a few other things, but his Welsh family were Unitarian Christians. He built this Unity Temple for them, where the insights from the Larkin Building suddenly came to life, such as the ability of geometry to organize this vast space. It truly consisted of 2 rooms. You'll see why. This is, so to speak, one of the extraordinary drawings with which he executed his works. And here's the plan, showing that on one side there's the auditorium where the worship services took place, and then on the other side there are the parish facilities like the catechism school, etc. You would enter through the middle, right here, and these 2 volumes formed something extraordinary, especially because it was constructed in concrete, a remarkable feat for the time. The contrast between the smooth surfaces, the concrete, and the reduction of openings to a series of decorated geometries made it, logically, a place of worship. You can still visit this building today because it's very close to his home in Oak Park near Chicago. He represented it succinctly, as you can see here, always with his desire to present himself in the best light. He would redraw everything here. He redrew it in an abstract manner, showing a section of the plan and both elements, and then he included it within this wash drawing per folio that was commissioned by this German editor. The dissemination of his work in Europe was crucial for Wright's ideas to take root on our continent. In 1909, when he was drawing this house, which, let me say, he also published in the Ladies' Home Journal, this time he called it a fireproof house for $5,000, and it was published under that title in the Ladies' Home Journal. Of course, in his office he was enjoying extraordinary success. House after house, he had a thriving practice, everything was going well. In 1909, while he was precisely drawing this house, though it's from a couple of years earlier, he executed it later. During this time, when he was at a crossroads regarding his future, a seismic event occurred in Frank Lloyd Wright's life, as it did in many other ways. He fell in love with a client's wife, Mama Cheney, for whom he had designed a house. She captivated him. She was indeed an extraordinary woman, a free thinker, highly cultured, a feminist, and even a translator of a Swedish sexologist. In short, she was a remarkable individual, and Mama Cheney fascinated him. So, from 1905 they became lovers, and they explained this to their respective spouses as best they could because they believed in free love. But of course, in early 20th century Chicago, this was not well understood. Mama Cheney also said, "We've been at this for 4 years. What's the holdup?" At a certain point in her life, things took a turn for the worse and she decided to escape to Europe. He left for Europe with Mama Cheney, leaving behind his wife, Catherine, and their 6 children forever. He was a well-known figure and the matter caused an extraordinary scandal. In the popular newspapers, people wondered, how is it possible that a home builder has destroyed his own home? It was something that couldn't be imagined at the time. He went to Europe and managed to persuade him that the things he was drawing could be built by themselves. This was done by Banjoff, an architect from the Netherlands, exactly as you mentioned. He had seen Wright's houses, but he had also seen his drawings. He managed to, through his presence in Europe, introduce Wright's architecture into the European discourse. It's true that the escape to Europe was quite complex. He spent some time in Berlin with Banjoff, creating that portfolio, a significant publication of his work that would later be so influential. He then spent several months in Fiesole, near Florence, living a passionate romance with Mama Cheney. The influence of what he did in Europe was profound. So, Dutch neoplasticism owes a significant part of its crystallization to him. For example, Van Doesburg or even Rietveld. Do you know that it would later become the Zweeder House? You can summarize it with these images, and they reinterpreted Wright's poetics with this lamp, using sliding plans and merging volumes, breaking free from Wright's box. The Dutch architects took this concept to the extreme, and through this, modern architecture was born. The Dutch had a significant advantage. They didn't get involved in World War I. While from 1914 onwards Germany was embroiled in the war, the Dutch were able to maintain their experimental spirit for a much longer period and benefit from the lessons of Wright, who had come to Europe as an ambassador. There are always two versions of this story. He claimed that the person who invited him to go to Europe, the one who encouraged him, although the catalyst was Mama Cheney, his lover, said, "You have to know what's happening in Berlin and Vienna because you'll learn a lot about Europe." He didn't describe it this way in his autobiography. He said, "I was called to Europe to preach my gospel and show them how things should be done." Whether he came to Europe to learn or teach is a matter of perspective. He spent an extraordinary year in Europe and returned to America, but by the time he came back, things had changed. He couldn't do the same things anymore, and, of course, he couldn't return to Chicago, where he had become, let's say, a rather unpleasant character. Of course, no client would want to commission a house, fearing he might run off with their spouse. So, with no prospects, he settled in the land of the all-powerful Joe Jones. In Wisconsin, in the valley, on a property that belonged to his mother, he created what he called Taliesin. In our journey through the life of Frank Lloyd Wright, we've explored his revolutionary ideas and experiences. Now, let's continue to unravel the fascinating story of this visionary architect. Join us in the next video as we delve deeper into the life of Frank Lloyd Wright. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your comments below. We love hearing from our viewers and sharing this incredible journey with you.